Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will show you one of my own online games that I played. It featured a Sicilian defense and I was having a good position in the middle game, but somehow the position just liquidated and it turned into this completely drawn position. And we can see there is an opposite color bishop with the rooks completely neutralizing each other, and if you ever trade the rooks it's just a dead draw. So let's see how I managed to win this position. Now, before we dive into more details, please, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell to get our latest videos. Okay, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The game started with e4, c5, the Sicilian defense, now knight c3, white hinting that maybe he could go for the closed Sicilian, and now knight c6, knight f3 by white, and now d6. And here my opponent played d4, and we transposed into the open Sicilian. Now c take d4, knight take d4, and knight f6. a3 by white, and now e6. Bishop to c4, and here I could have gone a6, threatening maybe to go b5 and expand on the queen side, but instead I choose to opt for the very simple d5. E take on d5, knight take on d5, knight take on d5, and pawn take on d5. Bishop to b5, and now bishop to d7. White goes for short castle, and now bishop to e7. And here my position is a little bit unpleasant, but still it is playable. And my opponent could have just retreated his knight to either one of these two squares, and he has a very good position. My isolated pawn here will be a weakness that I will have to take care of for the rest of the game. But instead here my opponent chose to take on c6, and this was a very bad mistake because he simply strengthened my pawns in the center, and now my position is very solid. I might even say that I am a little bit better here. Now white goes for b4, and here I simply go for short castle. Bishop to b2, and now bishop to f6, pinning the knight to the bishop. Queen to f3, and now queen to b6, adding more pressure to the knight. c3 by white, and here I simply decided to take the knight and give white an isolated pawn in the center, and I also have ideas to go a5 and destroy white's pawn structure in the queen side, so I took here on d4, now pawn takes, and now a5. Bishop to c3, a take on b4, a take on b4, and now g6. And this is obviously far from the best move in the position, but my idea was to put this bishop here on the f5 square, and maybe later on I could rear out my bishop and put it here on the b5 square and keep my pawns on the queen side safe. My opponent went for h3, and now bishop to f5. Rook on f to e1, rook capture on e1, and rook capture on a1, and now rook to e8. Queen to d1, and now queen to b5. Taking control over this diagonal, white offers a queen trade, which I should have accepted by the way, but I wanted to keep the queens on the board because I wanted to play for a win, and this is why I went for this move, bishop to d3. It's obviously not that impressive, but it keeps more life in the position. Queen to c1 by white, now queen to b7. Queen to a3, again threatening to offer a queen trade, and now bishop to b5. Queen to a7, queen to e7, queen take on e7, and rook takes on e7. Rook to e1, and now we reach the position that we saw at the beginning of the video, and this is a very drawish position because simply it's an opposite color bishop and the rooks completely neutralize each other. Here I tried to occupy the other open file, but the white rook just blocks the file and there is nothing new that you can do. But because I was playing for a win, I decided to keep the rooks on the board and I played this move, rook to b7. Now white went for f4, rook to e7, rook to e1, rook to a7, rook to a1, now again rook to b7, keeping the rooks on the board. King to f2, and now f5. And here I came up with this idea, if I manage to put my rook on the e file, and white offers a trade, I can simply put my rook here, and if white takes, I will be able to create a passer in the center, and this might give me some winning chances. And that's actually what happened in the game. King to f3, rook to e7, rook to e1, now rook to e4. Rook capture on e4, and now d capture on e4. King to e3, king to f7, and now g4. h5, g capture on h5, and now g capture on h5. And here it looks like white has a clear path to my position, and he might be able to even win this position, but this is just an illusion. Here white of course went king to f2, and now king to e7. Again white tries to go for my pawn, king to g3. Now I went e3, trying to push my passer, and white of course went king to h4, trying to attack my pawn and create a passer of his own. Now it may be compelling to push your pawn, but this is a disastrous mistake. The pawn for now is blockaded by the bishop, and if my pawn falls here, the h-pawn becomes very dangerous. But here there is a lovely winning move, which is to go bishop to f1. And this is very nice because now if the pawn is captured, I'm countering attacking the h-pawn. And when the h-pawn falls, there is no danger in my position. All my other pawns are very well defended and my passer will be very dangerous. So here after king capture on h4, bishop capture on h3, king to h4 attacking my bishop, and now bishop to g4, bishop to e1, as there is nothing that black can do here. All his pawns are sufficiently blockaded, and he can't even sacrifice one of them and push the other because my king and pawn do a fantastic job in blocking these two white pawns. Now my king enters the position, king to d5, bishop back to c3, and now king to c4, bishop to e1, and now the d4 pawn falls, and the white's position is just collapsing. If white tries to go for my pawns, king to g5, now king to d3, king to f6, king to c2, king to e5, and now simply king to d1. Now the white bishop has to move, bishop to h4, now simply e2, king to d6, attacking the c6 pawn, and now simply bishop to f3, defending the c6 pawn, king to e5, bishop to e4, and now I am defending both my pawns with my bishop, and white cannot do anything. For example here, king to d4, now I make a new queen, and after I win the bishop, this is just completely lost. One of these two pawns will fall, the white king cannot defend both of them, and after that, one of my pawns will queen, and it will be an easy win. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you for watching. Please, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell to get our latest updates. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video.